Hello everyone, William here from 222 Productions, and I am here to talk to you about the Philadelphia Regional Finals of American Ninja Warrior Season 10 in approximately 20 minutes or less, starting right now. So, just like the regional qualifiers in Philadelphia, I was at the regional finals at the taping. I got to see all the runs. So, I'm going to give you a little bit of behind the scenes info. It rained so much that night. Basically the entire day when I was awake, because I woke up maybe like 11. I ate breakfast at noon on Saturday. It didn't rain all day. I enjoyed Philadelphia. And then when I get to the taping, boom, starts raining. Like right before I got there. I got there like 7:15ish. I get there. They don't even ask to see my ticket. They just hand me a release form because it already started raining, and I guess they were worried about people not showing up. And like, I ended up going back to the hotel because I was getting soaked. Because like, even though I had an umbrella and a raincoat, like my pants were all wet, and then so I went back to the hotel where I was staying. Then I came back, and once the rain stopped, and so we didn't get started until I want to say 12:30 is when the first run started. But yeah, it was wet. A lot of the obstacles, especially when they first started, were wet as well. So just give behind the scenes stuff. There was definitely like, I remember watching the tester footage of this episode and just seeing like, oh, yeah, I can see that water dripping off of some of those obstacles in the back half of the course. So yeah, and what you couldn't see is that in the first couple of runs that happened, there was literally water like pouring out of the trusses of the wing nuts, specifically the parts of the truss that holds the wing nut itself at the hinge. So that was pouring out. The original plan for the night, to my understanding, was that they were going to like try to finish qualifiers that night and then immediately switch to finals and do like, the quick swap out for the first obstacle. So I was told this by a friend who is a part of the show behind the scenes, that at least at one point the plan was to put the tuning forks in Philadelphia. Like that sounds crazy. Basically, it would replace the broken bridge because they've been swapping obstacles this season, and that just seems crazy. Just because like tuning forks are such a powerful obstacle, and like it took out so many people, and this course specifically is hard enough. The lightning bolts is hard enough. Like the cutoff point was the lightning bolts for this time, which is the fifth obstacle. I think that's a combination of like that obstacle. It was nerfed. I'll get there in a second, but you can't really. There's only so much nerfing you can do with that obstacle. Like this course really wasn't nerfed that much. So I don't know. If it is true that the tuning forks were supposed to be in the Philadelphia regional at some point, maybe it's because of the rain, maybe it's because they realized, hey, that obstacle is too tough. Who knows? But yeah, this is the only course that didn't have any obstacle changes, and there's been, when you look at like the patterns of how the swapping was done and all that, you get a sense that at least at some point, maybe the tuning forks were supposed to be in Philadelphia, but who knows? I'm glad that didn't happen though, because it would have been messy. The whole thing would have been messy. But just to go through the course, of course, we had the archer steps, the spinning bow ties, the broken bridge, the wing nuts, the lightning bolts. Like I said, they were nerfed. You were allowed to dismount early in the regional finals, whereas the regional qualifiers you had to go to the end. And I was told that the grip for the lightning bolt bar was better. So, those are a bit of a unseen nerfs, I guess. Then, of course, got the warp wall, salmon ladder, a new obstacle called the captain's wheel, which I love. Basically, basically it's kind of like a roulette cylinder, except it's stationary. You got to turn it to form a bridge, and you got to lâcher to a second wheel and do it again. I love it. I love it. It's great. You got to do this motion and all that. You got to be like. Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. And then you have the Spinball Wizard making a return. I love the Spinball Wizard. And then, of course, the Spider Trap. Basically, don't remember Spinball Wizard. You got to do the 2 grips like this with the balls. It's good stuff. So, as someone who like had insider knowledge because I was there, I really found it interesting just with the promotion of this episode, just how much they were like hinting at the idea that there might be a woman to clear a regional finals course, and obviously that didn't happen. So it was weird from a person who was there standpoint. But they start off with Michelle Wonky. I just want to say that like the YouTube preview for this episode was Michelle's run. So, and I'm fine with that. If you're going to like do a preview run, like have it be the first run of the episode. I think that's pretty good. She did really well making it to the captain's wheel. Really impressed with Michelle. I was super happy to see her to go. I can't remember if she was last or second to last of the women. I can't remember who went for last between those, but I kind of knew because like I'm trying to remember actually. Yeah, because I remember in the audience, I knew that between whoever was last, between Michelle or Alyssa. Actually, I guess it would have been both women. Actually, I knew if they made it past the lightning bolts, they were guaranteed to move on, just because of where the first 3 women failed. So, or did. Actually, I'm trying to think when Casey ran. It's a bit weird because like they ran out of order. Like usually like it goes based on reverse order where 30th last place runs first, and then the person who goes fastest goes last. Which they still do that, but they kind of mix it up a bit. So it was weird. But just to go some fast forwards, Christian DeBuris failed. The Wingnuts, I got a lot of that. Ryan Lee failed the Lightning Bolts, and Kara Powell failed the Archer Steps. I remember this. She got stuck on that rope for a long time, basically really struggling. The problem with like recovering on the Archer Steps is you can't kick off of the point of the step. You really have to kick off where the axle is. And so that's why it's harder to recover from the Archer Steps than the floating steps, because floating steps is much more solid. Then they showed Darian Bennett works hard for his kids. He ended up failing the Wingnuts. It was getting a bit frustrating just seeing it live, seeing people fail the Wingnuts, just because like, it felt like some people were rushing it, or some people were kind of spinning at the launching at the wrong time, because like these are all people who cleared the Wingnuts last time, but yeah, seems weird. Then they had Zach Day. It was cool seeing his run. I had no idea about his father, especially because this was like it happened like a month before filming. That's crazy. Maybe like a month and a half, but yeah, he made it the captain's wheel. It looked good doing it. Sean Johnson failed the Wingnuts. James Bartholomew failed the Lightning Bolts, and Andrew Shirk also failed the Lightning Bolts. Then they had Dave Kavanaugh, and like when I saw this whole King of the Walk-Ons profile, all I could think is like, please stop rejecting Dave Kavanaugh's applications and just accept him. Like, I don't get this whole application process sometimes, and how like sometimes they'll just like flat out reject people who like did well on the show. Like Andrew Lowe's is someone, for example. Like, if you make it to stage 2, you should be allowed to come back. So, he shouldn't have to be King of the Walk-Ons, basically. But he made a Spinball Wizard, so that's good. He looked good on the captain's wheel too. I appreciate that. More fast forwards, Paul Rigeri failed the Wingnuts, Chris Fantuzzo, who is the son of Carl Fantuzzo. And I remember I briefly saw Carl in the audience, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm more nervous for him than when I run." And I remember Carl failed the broken bridge in qualifiers. He got caught up in the middle and had to fight to like stand up again, and it was an exciting run, but unfortunately just didn't work out. And then Angel Rodriguez failed the captain's wheel. So we started James McGrath's run mid-run. His wingspan, easy work of the captain's wheel. He ends up failing the spider trap. I remember this. This was he definitely ran before any of the clears did. So he was the first person to get the spider trap for the night. This was my first experience, and like, yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know if his legs were tired or if it was just wet. Like, you might be thinking like moisture. Like, yeah, there was just a lot of wetness. Like, a lot of the landing pads had like wetness to it. A lot of obstacles had wetness to it, and also like, it was a moisture in the air, and also we were right next to a river. For those of you who don't know, the power plant is right next to a river. Basically on the side that you can't see, there's a river. But yeah, it was unfortunate to see him fail, but like, I'm glad he's going to Vegas, so he deserves it. James is great. McKinley Pierce. There was a lot of people in the crowd around me who were big fans of McKinley. She ended up doing better than qualifying. It was just, it sucks. I know McKinley's great. She took first in the National Ninja League last year for the league. She had the most points for the league play. And she went out on the lightning bolts, but only because she got a bad bounce on the trampoline. And I just remember seeing that live and just being like, man, that's not the way you want to go. It was very disappointing. And I'm trying to remember if she ran before Casey. She definitely ran after Kara, which is weird, because Kara did better. I don't know. It's hard to remember the exact order of which everyone ran. Chad Riddle. Oh yeah, this is where. So they mentioned the Villanova band. There was so much that like didn't get shown on camera, because with the Villanova band they played a whole bunch of songs. It was great. There was a lot of stuff that you didn't see. I was right next to them. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention where I was. I was in front of the broken bridge the entire night. Mike Needham was around me, and there was a whole bunch of ninjas around me. It was a good time. Very cramped. You don't see me on camera very often. For a long time. When people are running across the broken bridge, because the broken bridge is such a fast-paced obstacle that if you do it correctly, you clear it very quickly. So you don't really see me that well. You do see me every time someone passes the broken bridge. You don't see me that well. The big reason I stood there is because you can't see it on TV. There's a giant projector screen right on the other side of that obstacle, so I can watch the entire course from where I was standing. It was very convenient for me. But they had Chad Riddle, who failed lightning bolts despite clearing the course last time. Then Matt Strollo failed the salmon ladder. I remember that. It was disappointing. I was hoping he'd do better, because he was one of those walk-ons who cleared the qualifier. Then they had Jamie Ron, and Yes, yeah, he was legit the first person to clear that night. So basically, they focus on two things. One, he got married, and two, he's now part of the Ninja Nation with Jeff Britton and Ryan Stratus. So they got big airtime, big promotion. So good luck to them. I've been following the Ninja Nation, and they look like they got a good facility. I don't live anywhere near them or any of their locations, but if they ever come to the East Coast with a new location, I like to go. But anyway, yeah, Jamie cleared 6:19. Jules Licaderio got the commercial run, which is fine by me. He failed the Spinball Wizard. I thought maybe I missed it, and it's entirely possible I did. I could have sworn he did a flip when during off of the lightning bolts, but maybe Maybe I imagined that. Because I didn't see him do that during the run. And unfortunately, I can't really look up that run again because I don't have it on my DVR anymore. So, I don't know. But yeah, he made a Spinball Wizard, so good for him. Gavin Ross, he ended up failing the captain's wheel. And then they showed his run. And then they went to Casey Rothschild. I'm like, oh, I know what they're doing here. They really sort of hyped her up, and like I'm glad that like I finally got to see this run, because seeing this live, I pretty much completely missed her run because it happened so quickly, and like they didn't put it on the screen yet, because that was like I guess one of the sort of annoying things about being there at the taping was that like they didn't really start the projector screen until like usually they got to the second obstacle. So you kind of have to, like, I guess just look over to the archer steps, because it's a bit of an awkward angle from when I was standing. And I just looking at Casey, and I looked away for a second. All of a sudden, I look back, and, like, she's gone in the water. And so I'm glad I got to see what actually happened, because what happened on TV is actually different than what I thought happened when I was live. I thought she had just missed the rope completely. It turns out that's not the case. She basically didn't get to the platform properly. It seems like she let go too soon and fell backwards into the water. She needed a bit more forward momentum on the platform. So that's really unfortunate. Like, obviously she's a good competitor, but, you know, that sucks. Lucas Rial ended up going out on the captain's wheel. They showed his run. Yeah, that was a good one. I think, is he the one who had the big spin out? He might have been. Logan Craiglow. It's yeah, it's kind of interesting, kind of like who they show when, because we didn't have a lot of people make it past the lightning bolts, so you kind of had to pick and choose. But yeah, he failed the lightning bolts. Some fast forwards: Brian Pierce failed the lightning bolts. Tyler Waters failed the lightning bolts. Then they showed Chris Wilczewski. Now, just to let everyone know, Chris was actually the last person to run that night, since he was first place in the qualifier. So we saw him beat Najee's time by like a minute. I think it would have been better seeing him in the show run last, just because, like, you know, this is the best Chris has looked, I would say, as a competitor on A&W. Like, this is the most impressed I've seen him, because, like, he looked good at the taping. On TV, he looks even better. I think the TV made him look good. I'll say that. So yeah, really happy to see him do well. And he was jumping spokes on the captain's wheel, which is really cool. Really appreciate him doing that. That's good. So Cody Coppola, who I remember from National League, he failed the wing nuts, and so did Mike Bernardo. I remember seeing Bernardo fail and just being really sad when it happened. And just, yeah, I think that was like the most sad I was the entire weekend, just seeing that. And in regards to Bernardo, like, watching it both live and TV, basically what happened was, I feel like other people this happened to too, but basically his swing got out of whack, so instead of just going left and right, his body was also going, like, forward and back. And so when he swung, he sort of, like, went away from the wing nuts. Like, you know, instead of just going this way, he went this way. And so he couldn't, he missed the grab because of that. So yeah, his momentum was all out of whack, and it's unfortunate, because, you know, Bernardo's a good guy. He's a good competitor. And they showed Alyssa Beard. You know, again, like, they're hyping, but, like, I knew. I knew what was going to happen. She failed the captain's wheel. You know, I mean, both her and Michelle are great, and they deserve it. They earned their spots, which is appropriate. And then they ended with Najee Richardson's run. Najee, like I've said this before, I think it's very clear that the producers want Najee to win. In the sense that they hope that he wins. And he looked good on the course. This definitely seemed like a course that definitely suited his skill set. There was a lot of laches in this course, very lache heavy. So something that's definitely more, I guess, compatible with a gymnast like himself. And he looked good on the course. He took second place overall, finished the course. I just you just get that sense that like they hope that he is a winner because you get the whole thing like, oh, he's a role model and all that, so that's great. And Najee's a nice guy. I got to talk to him a little bit. At the set. I talked to him a little bit at the NNO. He's a nice guy. I appreciate him. So that's everything. Let's just go through the stats here because we're running a little long. 32 competitors took on this course. We saw 11 full runs, 2 of them started mid-progress, and 15 fast forwards, and all the clears were shown. So we had 3 finish on this course in the form of Chris Wilczewski, Najee Richardson, and Jamie Rahn, followed by 1 spider trap fail in James McGrath, 2 spin ball wizards in Dave Kavanaugh and Judas Licaderio, 6 captain wheel fails in Angel Rodriguez, Lucas Real, Zach Day, Gavin Ross, Alyssa Beard, and Michelle Wonky. 1 salmon ladder fail in the form of Matt Strollo, and the last 2 people of the top 15 failed the lightning bolts in James Bartholomew and Logan Craiglow. And before I stop the time, I just remembered one more thing. In Alyssa Beard's profile, they talked about how kids are becoming fans of Alyssa Beard and they want to pretend to be Alyssa. When it's playtime, and they showed one girl crying because she wanted to be Alyssa, but she didn't want to be the boyfriend, which obviously is reference to James McGrath. I know James watches these videos, at least some of these videos, and I'm just kind of curious, James, if you're watching, how did that make you feel? I mean, on one hand, I would be. There'd be 2 parts of me if that happened to me. It'd be like, hey, that's funny, but also I'm a little insulted. But I would laugh it off more than be insulted of the 2. But just out of curiosity, James, how did that make you feel? And with that, I'm gonna stop the clock. So that's all my thoughts on Philadelphia. I'll definitely say, going to it live, it was a lot of fun both nights. I don't know if. At the end of the day, the TV show can't recreate the feeling that I had watching it live because there's so much stuff that doesn't show on camera with just the people around you giving you company that just can't be recreated on TV. So is the TV version as good as the live version? No, but it was never going to be. It can't be. Because of my situation was so unique, and it's a situation that you just can't recreate for the viewers. So you hope that with what they showed, it's suitable for the viewers itself. So I'm kind of curious, what was your thoughts on this episode? I know this was an episode that had maybe not as much success as others. The cutoff point was the 5th obstacle, and I think that's a combination of maybe some less able ninjas made it through because of the whole rain delay thing that happened in the qualifier. Also the course was wet, and the lightning bolts is just a tough obstacle in general. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you like what you saw, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I very much appreciate it because I do more than just American Ninja Warrior coverage. I do a bunch of Ninja Warrior coverage in general, and videos and all that jazz. So, thank you everyone for watching. Next time we'll be talking about the Minneapolis finals as we get one step closer to Las Vegas. So, until then, see you later, guys.